Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P-Funk. Thinking right out here in the lab, in the wee hours of the morning. It's about 5:10. Doing what I do for you. Oh, we about to get started on a series of lessons that I'm going to call Introduction to Religion and Religious Studies. How about that? Nope, sorry about that. What is religion and what is the nature of the divine? And then the first lesson will be Introduction to Religion and Religious Studies. So, you know the deal. Let's go. Just want to let you know where we're going. Put the seatbelt on, get your popcorn, get comfortable. This may be a minute, maybe 60. Right? Ism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. Put a message in the story for life. Sometimes I take it to the book. That's where we are now. I'm giving lessons from the book. I'm teaching, doing what I do to enlighten you. Let's go. Rules to live by. 25 rules to live by. Yeah. But what I'm doing, the numbers saying you like what I'm doing, I'm going to continue to do what I do for you. I appreciate you too. Let's rock. Right Thinker's mission, and I'm on it, is to enlighten, bring some knowledge to you, inspire, hopefully get you to act on it, educate, tell you what you need to do for you, and motivate you to actually do it for motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. You need to know better so you can do better. Right things is a way of life. And there's a way of life through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is to get all right thinkers who follow me, listen to me, to do just that. You listen to me for a reason. You follow me for a reason. I want to make that reason be you knowing you. That's my goal. That's my agenda. That's my mission. Let's go. Know thyself. Do you know you? Well, shut up. It's rhetorical. Give it a good thought. Think before you open your mouth, right? Think, 'cause that's our first premise. Before I say something, I done thought about it. I done gave it a thought before I just blurted something out. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is that person foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You teach them. That's what I do. What I do for you. I appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got you. A person who knows not and believes or think that they know, dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know is asleep spiritually. On the spiritual law clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons inside of you. Right? Think to know thyself. And to my app, be true. Today, I'm gonna start a series teaching from this book right here. It's all beat up because I spent like 5 years in it. And yeah, I'm about to put it to use again. All right. I got about 6 pages of information. I'm going to read through meticulously and break it down for you. It's going to take a minute, but it's information. That's very important. Trust me. All right. So here we go. The title, like I told you, what is religion? I'm going to explain to you why I don't do religion, but I'll explain to you why, and I'm going to show you what the purpose of religion is. Okay. What is religion? And what is the nature of the divine, aka God? Introduction to religion, and more important, religious studies. I'm not giving you biblical knowledge. I'm giving you religious knowledge. Is the difference. So let's get the knowledge about religion. Introduction to religion and religious studies. The ancient Egyptian religion, she taught that, aka right thinking philosophy, is what I practice. Put my spin on it, so it's right thinking. And its language and symbols provide what? The first, hear me now, the first historical records documented of mystical religion and yoga philosophy and religious literature. We started this concept. I keep trying to explain to you, and I'm not going to get into a debate about who was first. I ain't got time for that. I'm just giving the knowledge that we gave to society, and I use it, and that's what I teach. Egyptian yoga, aka Smatawi, is what has been commonly referred by Egyptologists as what? Egyptian religion. Religion is a way of life. You live it, you practice it, it becomes a way of life if it's done what on a day-to-day basis. That's the purpose. So understand this. Semi-Tawi is what have been commonly referred to by Egyptologists as Egyptian religion or mythology. Mythology is the study of myth. We do that as an educational purpose, and you'll see as we go. Excuse me. Part of religion is the stories that they tell to get you to understand the mythology of the story, to learn and understand the message that's trying to be related to you through the story. I give a message, I put a message in the story. It's been like that since beginning of time. It's called teaching. So let's go. Religion or mythology, but to think, watch this, of it just as another set of stories, allegories, which is what the Bible is, about a long lost civilization is completely miss the greatest secret in human existence. The misunderstanding of God is the greatest, biggest problem for religious concepts. That's why I don't follow them. Watch this. The unique perspective from the highest philosophical system, which developed where? In Africa over thousands of years ago. It provides a new way to look at life, aka religion, and what? The discipline and psychology and the way to spiritual development, leading to spiritual enlightenment. That's the goal of all human beings. Egyptian mythology, when understood, here we go, gives every individual insight into their own divine nature and also a deeper insight into all religious and yoga systems. Trust me, you need to study. You need to get understanding. This is why we have teachers, sages, saints, gurus. Why? Because they learn, they perfect, and they teach. When you don't know something and you want to know something, you go to the one who knows. That's all you got to do. I got you. Stay tuned. Watch this. Now, those who wish to become right thinkers, Shimshonettas, that's followers of the Commission, ancient Egyptian spiritual concepts, teachings, are initiated. Again, you had to be initiated into Shitat Netta, Semi-Tawi, and right thinking philosophy. Okay. Shitat Netta, is the religion and its mythic teachings based on varied traditions centered around one or more different god and goddesses. Semi-Tawi are what? The yogic discipline techniques or metaphysical, which is the end result for religion, metaphysical technologies, what? Used to do what? Transform. The purpose of religion is to transform the human being. Watch this. Transform the human being. These disciplines promote what? A transformation. How? Through a movement that purifies what? The personality and renders it what? Subtle enough to what? Perceive the transcendental spiritual reality which is beyond time and space called Nihas. It's a spiritual mental thing, heart and mind coherence thing. It's when they come together as one. I keep trying to explain that to you, and they laying out here for you. That's why I'm giving you the book lesson. I'm not gonna keep telling you that. Nope. I'll just read to you from the book. You can hopefully pick it up and understand it better. Maybe some people work better like that. So this is why my teaching technique works for a lot of people. Watch this. When you reach Nihas, that's enlightenment, resurrection. This is a movement from what? Again, ignorance to enlightenment, not knowing to knowing, believing to knowing. You get the concept from mortality and weakness to immortality and superior power. Use of the force gives you power. I love that. Now, the power to what? To discover who? The absolute, from whence the gods and the goddesses and all creation arose. Again, one became many and never lost or added to himself. That's the concept of God. I'm just saying. So watch this. Now, this is a movement towards what? Becoming one with the universe and the consciousness behind it. You need to know God. You need to experience God. You need to reach that level where you become one with God. which is eternal and infinite. This is the lofty goal of what? Initiation into any order, any code, any following. The goal is to get you to do something, to get you, take you from being ignorant and to bring you to light. Masons, kill you off your old you, raise you on a new level, perpendiculars. All of it is symbolic, but all of it is meant to bring you up, to raise you up. Why? Because down here is not good. Where we at? Okay, now the purpose. Watch this. I keep telling you, the purpose of religion and its disciplines is what? Is to promote purity of heart, virtue, and righteousness, and these lead to what? Higher realization of what? Spiritual enlightenment. The next section I talk about, where I present an overview about Shita Netta. We're about to hit that. But later, the main tradition within Shita Netta, spirituality will be presented. I'm going to show you it's all between the ears, and it's a spiritual thing. God is a spirit. When you have spiritual knowledge, you have knowledge of God. When you have self-knowledge, you got knowledge of God. You know thyself, you know God. See where I'm going with this? Hopefully you do. Now this lesson is about the true purpose. Again, I'm trying to break it down from the book. The true purpose of religion as a spiritual path to enlightenment and immortality. The goal is for you to reach that self need house for yourself. Every individual has the opportunity and has the right. It don't say just them that know. Every individual, trust me. The term religion, again, I'm gonna break it down again from the Latin religare, which uses the word roots re, means back, and religion, whatever. Okay, legan, which means to hold, to link, to bond. There's the essence. Therefore, the essence of true religion is what? Is that to what? Linking back. Specifically, listen, linking its followers, believers, back to what? The original source. I'm taking you back. It come to Egypt. It come from Africa. So I'm trying to get you to go back there. Why? Because that's where it all starts. The source of the innermost essence. Watch this. And in this sense, the term religion and yoga are synonymous. I teach yoga. Y'all follow religion. Okay. At one point, they was together. This source, which is what the underlying reality behind every object in creation, is described as unborn, undying, eternal, immortal, and is known by an endless number of names. We know we call God. Everybody got a name for him. Some of which are, here we go, the consciousness, the all, self, higher self. I use that one myself. God, Goddess, Supreme Being, another one of my favorites. The Divine Self, another one. Eternal Self, Soul, Nibirja, that's the one a lot of people don't understand. That's another name for God. Pure Consciousness, one of my favorites. Brahmin in India, all over there. You got Allah, you got Netta, Nettaru, Creator, Absolute, Divine Mother, Great Spirit. These various names were arising from various traditions and separate cultures in reality represent what? The same divine transcendental principle. The one. Everything is on the one. Okay, let's go. Hope you enjoy this. I am. Although religion in its purest form, here we go, and it ain't been pure for a long time. Watch. From its purest form, is supposed to be mystical system. We call the ancient Egyptian concept what? The mystery system. Why? Because it's a mystery to those who didn't understand, but it's the mystical system because you're going to have a mystical experience if you reach Nihas. That's what that means. You're going to open the third eye, you're going to become an enlightened being, you're going to become a spiritual being, having a human experience, and living a life on your terms. You are the controller of your destiny. An ignorant man ain't never gonna find his way. An intelligent man will get direction and go and follow the directions given to him. I'm the direction giver. I'm just trying to help you find God for yourself. I've been telling you that since I started. Ain't nothing changed. Let's go. Now, although religion, again, this pure form, watch this. The intent, the original intent and the meaning of the scripture is to be followed are often what? Misunderstood. That's my argument with religion. Don't get it twisted. Now, it's often misunderstood, if not distorted, meaning it's not being practiced properly, it's not being understood properly, so it cannot be taught and lived properly. Understand that. And this occurs why? Because the various religions have adopted what? A different geographic was developed in different geographical areas. We already know that. Understand that. Therefore, the lower levels, historical accounts, stories, and traditions is all you got. And that have developed independently and sometimes without what? Proper guidance. That's another reason. Political conflicts, more nonsense, has often spilled over into religious practice. This is why they took it out of the school. All political nonsense. It was getting ridiculous. It was getting out of control. So that's where we are with religion. You took God and religion out of the church, but you brought in drag queens and gay people? Are you crazy? That's where we are. Just saying. I'm just now. Watch this. The symbols. Watch this. Here we go. Okay, it was into religious practice, distorting it. Watch this. Under these conditions, the inner meanings of the myths and the symbols become what? Lost, and the exact esoteric meaning, which is the only the higher meaning, the basic stuff, or folkloric meanings are what emphasized. Now you got more folklore, you got more misinterpretation, you got basic stuff, elementary knowledge, and you think you got something. That's not enough to get you there. This is why when y'all get to the gate, you always fail. And you don't know that because everybody keep doing it. It ain't stop. Like everybody goes to a certain point and go off the bridge. Yeah, ain't nothing there. You got nothing. So now this leads to what? Deism, dogma, and a phenomenal and occurrence of what? Facts which perceivable by the senses, meaning they go by what they feel. That's the approach to religion rather than what? The mystical, symbolic, and transcendental understanding, meaning studying, learning, and manifesting for yourself. Don't just take, well, they said this, I'm good with that. Why? That means you got to put no work in, you got to do nothing. Nothing is ever that easy if it's worth anything. Most religions, listen, tend to be dogmatic. Again, scripture, 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 the scripture. You don't want to mess with me. Okay. Dogmatic ones, and it's also deistic at the what? Elementary level, meaning the esoteric, exoteric, EX, the outer, just the, I give you eso, enter, the hidden meaning. That's the truth. The top ain't saying it's a lie. I'm just saying the truth is hidden. Okay? It ain't that obvious. That's why you have to study and learn. Watch this. Now, when you got elementary levels, deism as religious belief or form of theism, belief in existence of God, and that's fine. But that holds that God action was what? Restricted to an actual initial act in creation. 6 days he created the world and then 7. But that's the false watch. But watch. The act of creation and after which he retired. And this word right here, they got it separated to contemplate the majesty of his work. That means God left man. I can't co-sign that one. I can't subscribe that one, and I'm not going to let you tell me that I know better. That's why. Understand that. Now, the deist holds that, watch this, that nature, natural creation, is regulated by laws. We know about God's law. You reap what you sow, karma, that's all God's law, not man. Watch this, by laws put in place by who? God. When? At the time of creation, aka the Big Bang, which are what? Inscribed with perfect moral principles. Maya is based on perfect moral principles. That's the original concept of religion. That's the first concept that they lived by in ancient times. It lasted over 3,000 years. So why don't we learn that? Why we learn all this other nonsense? So therefore, deism is closely related to what? Exoteric or personal understanding of the divinity. Just a little bit. Just you believe. You got enough to believe. You ain't got enough to know and experience. Why? Because you haven't done the things to make that happen. That's the ticket that you need to understand. Right quick. religion has three phases: the myth, the ritual, and the mysticism. The mysticism is the part that a lot of Christian followers never reach. Why? Because they get satisfied with the first two and think they there. Like I don't teach my students about Haru. Why? They think they Haru and ain't got a clue about those stuff they need to get there. That's why. So teaching is important. It's levels. Again, is in complete form. Religion is what? Composed of three aspects: the myth, the ritual, and the metaphysics. And did they explain that to you? Explain what it means? Well, I know the myth, I know the ritual, metaphysics. I don't know. What that, excuse me, metaphysics is the actual doing of what it is the myth and the ritual is getting you to learn. And that experience will be the mystical experience that every individual has for themselves. Ancients called it nihas. Hello. Or, watch this, the mystical experience is still mystical. Why? Because it's happening within you. It is happening because you're doing something. Mysticism, mystical philosophy, while many religions, watch this, contain rituals, traditions, metaphors, and what? Myths, allegories. Remember, if you think that book is literal, you're wrong. That's I'm leave that there. Watch this. They are few professionals trained to what? In understanding their deeper aspects and psychological implications, the metaphysics and the mystical experience. Thus, there is often what? Disappointment, frustration, and disillusionment among many of the religious followers, as well as their leaders, uninformed, unknowledgeable within many religions. The people who run religion, they are businessmen. They are snake oil salesmen. They shady. They shiesty. I don't care what they profess. I'm telling you what they are. Particularly in what? The Western culture. Christianity. Why? Because it is difficult to involve spiritually what? Without the proper spiritual guidance, and faith alone is not sufficient. Belief ain't going to get it. Why? It ain't sufficient to what? Promote the highest spiritual evolution, which is gaining knowledge of self. So just having belief won't get you to the next level. It won't get you to know yourself. So y'all just going around, around and around. Please understand that. I'm not trying to insult you. I'm trying to enlighten you. Through introspection, and watch this, spiritual research, study, it is possible to what? Discover the mythological vestige within religion, the intent, which can rekindle the light of spirituality and at the same time increase the possibility of what? Gaining a fuller experience of life. I'm enjoying my life. I put a lot of time and energy working, but now the benefits from that is a lot better than you can imagine. Trust me, that word abundance, when you are happy with yourself, when you're at peace with yourself, when your life is going the terms that you want for yourself, what else can you ask? What more could you ask? But that didn't just happen. And those who have that know that. So I'm just trying to let you know what it takes to get there. Why? I'm there. Not bragging. The esoteric, watch this, the outer layer, outer ritualistic forms of religion, which everybody love and practice, which most people are what? Familiar with, is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to knowledge, self-knowledge, so to speak. Why? It's only a beginning. Elementary level. We want to get to college level, so it's a whole lot of stuff to go before you get to college. We start out at elementary, we end up, if you want a higher level, that's college. High school ain't going to get it there. It's good to have a diploma or whatever, but that's nothing. That's just beginning. Now, in the beginning, an invitation or what? Prompting to seek what? Deeper esoteric. This is my house right here. I'm the esoteric teacher. If you want more, you need to come check me out. That's what I give you. In the deeper esoteric discovery of what? The transcendental truth of the existence of God in you. I can prove it. All you got to do is follow the rules, and you know for yourself. So it ain't about me preaching to you how good God is and how going. I ain't got time. No. I'm gonna teach you how to know that for yourself, and your testimony it be yours. Maybe you want to do hoop and holler and praise the Lord. That's your thing. Knock yourself out. It ain't how I do it. So understand that. Moving on. There are several high gods. Okay, systems. Everybody got ancient Egyptian mythology. High God means what? That the highest God or goddess within that system, particular system of theology, they had it, is considered to be the original deity from which all others emanated as cosmic forces. Here we go. Thus, in Assyrian myth, Asar is known as Pa-Netta, the father, or the god, the high god, and creation is composed of the cosmic forces, which was before Asar, the sun, air, moisture, earth, heaven was all here before Asar. Why? He's the spirit that's in man. That's why. Please, which originated from the higher divinity, God the One. The cosmic forces are known as letters or god and goddesses, again, aspects. And it is important, please, to understand that the high gods and goddesses, as well as the Egyptian trinities, originated from the same transcendental, spiritual, superior, supreme being, which was what? Without name or form, but referred to as Neter, Neteru, Neter or Neters, supreme being above all gods, and the goddess, aka Nebercha, all encompassing. Whatever all the elements that God have, the merchant had that, and he makes it in Trinity. He brings it out in Trinity. We got to get to that level right now. Where we at? So in the manner, the initiate you, right thinkers, is to what? Understand that all the gods and goddesses are in reality just symbols with names and forms, aka philosophical concepts, which present the divine in a very manifest forms of nature. That's how he presents himself. He's a spirit. He's in us. He gave us life. Now we can recognize him in what he did here for us so that we can exist. Now, this produces a two-aspect format of religion in which there is a personal aspect, you, the I, the ego, and the transpersonal aspect, your spirit, God. The personal aspect is fixed in time and space in the physical body with name and form. We are human beings, we get named at birth, our mark, whatever. So that's what happens. But the spirit that's in me is greater than anything that's in the world. Why? Because it's the creator. We need to know that. Why we make it a secret? God is hidden, but we ain't got to hide it from us. Adam and Eve creep and sneak. So they try to hide from God. What happened? Got to go. Stay under God's obedience, and you can stay in the Garden of Eden, so to speak. Why? He'll protect you. You're under his care. When you go out with your ego, that means you're going to edge God out. Get back to the lesson, sorry. But watch this. Now, we all have name and form in human form. God don't have name or form. Why? He's not in human form. When he is, then we get to do that. This form, watch this, is readily understood by the masses of human beings with ordinary spiritual awareness and is used in myths and stories. Again, the second aspect, the transpersonal side, here you go, spiritual side, points our interest toward that which lies beyond the symbolic form. Again, it's eternal, it's spiritual. This is the unmanifest form, aka of what? Divine, as it is expressed in the mystical teachings of religious mythology. They're trying to show you, teach you stories of how God did this, what God did, to give you understanding for yourself. And once you live, do, and be what they're trying to get you to do, you know for yourself. You don't have these stories. You don't need them be told. You know for yourself. It's called experience, mystical. Thus, watch this. The high God is a personal symbol or representation with what? With name and form of the nameless, formless, unmanifest, and the transcendental supreme being. We put a name to him. We put identity to him. But we know that he is here in us, not out there somewhere watching and playing a puppeteer game or reaching out and touching one person and saying, this is mine, my chosen people. All that nonsense. That's rhetoric and theological nonsense. Moving on. Let me get this thing going. I'm feeling good right about now. I'm just warming up. Watch this. So there are several forms in the Trinity in ancient Egyptian religion, dependent on what? The geographical locality where the teachers were espoused. These include Amen, Mut, Kansu. I just gave that lesson the other day. That's the thieves. You got Ptah, Sekhmet, Nefertim. What's that? Thieves. You got Heliopolis. Then you got Haru, Heteru, and Homicide. That's Haru's family. I don't even know about that. We ain't even get into that one. He got 4 sons. Now you got Haru the younger. Then you got Kunum, who was the creator, the fashioner. Then he got his wife, Anukas, and he had a daughter. They Trinity, it was the female. How about that? So all of them are not always the male. There's a female in the Trinity also. Watch this. Ptah, Sokar, and Asar. That's Ta, the God. Sokar is Asar in the afterlife. Okay, another lesson. Asar. It's a whole bunch of stuff that you can learn that and give you knowledge and insight on how to be your best self. This is the story. This is the mythology story. However, watch this. The most popular trinity throughout all ancient Egypt was what? Asar, Aset, Haru. That's the one that gives you wisdom about life. It's life story. It's really a life story. Yours. Why? Because it's going to be every aspect of you is in there philosophically, and it's a good story. Trust me. All right. Then you got the single supreme transcendental being. We called him Pa Netter, the Netter, Netteru, the Nebercha. He's the unmanifested realm beyond time and space, name and form. We know that. We put that up there. We understand that. Now we got the high gods and goddess manifesting as the Trinity. We got Amen, hidden, Ra, the Son, Ptah, the self-creator. And the best one we follow, which I teach, right thinking philosophy, goes with the Asar, Aset, Haru philosophy. That's the one I teach. That's the one that I master. No other one, jack of the rest of them, but I'm a master of this one. That's my point. Now, the activity or awareness within what? The manifest or the symbolic area of religious practice is within the purview of the mythological and ritual stages of what? Religious practice. While the activity within the unmanifest area is covered by what? The third and final level of religious practice, which a lot of y'all don't reach. Christians, no offense, you are spiritually, mentally lazy. Why? Because you just rely on the pastor to give you everything. You rely to just listen and just, you ain't doing nothing on your own. Live right. You'll be fine. I'm just saying, it's okay to have lessons, but you got to put the work in. The pastor can't do that for you, okay? Watch this. It covered the third level. Watch this. The mystical or metaphysical level, that's the third degree of Masonry. If you only got 2 degrees, you're in a Master Mason. Christians, if you only got 2 levels of Christianity, you're really Christian. If I'm going with that, get your lesson, learn it, live it, become it, and then you can express it. Moving on. Now, the first sophisticated system of religion and yoga, mystical philosophy in historical times occurred where? In ancient Egypt. You can't profess to be first if you can't prove it. Well, when I come at commercial, you can't profess that you're, I remember 409, my big one, 409. That stuff worked. Why? You spray it on there, give it a few seconds, you wipe it, it's clean. Back then, when they was competing with Clorox and Mr. Clean, smacked them around. Why? Because they proved what they said they could do. So when you can prove your stuff works, that's the only thing. Now, the basis, you ain't got to have facts. You can just say what you want. Oh, it does this. Oh, it does that. Nobody questions it. I'm just saying. So with truth, it plays itself out. You ain't got to dress it up. You ain't got to, no, let it do what it do. That's why I give you the information I give you, and it's up to you. That's all. Take a piece from the east, a piece from the west, put it where it does you the best, and you can do the rest. Now, go. In life, you have to live according to what you know, not what you believe. The system, watch this, included all the god and goddesses, which in later times became individually popular in various cities, different places throughout ancient Egypt. Everybody had their own concepts, and that's fine that they live by. At the birth of the system of gods and goddesses was what? Shita, the hidden and unmanifest essence of the universe, also known as the Nebercha and Amun. The system of religion of ancient Egypt was called Shita Netta. We had a way of life. That's what it was. right thinking philosophy. That's my way of life. Why? That's what I practice on a day-to-day basis, and you can make it your way of life. Why? She taught that, or the hidden way of the unmanifest supreme God. I'm representing God. I know him. He's unmanifested, but I know he's within me, so I can do what I need to do for him and be rewarded by him for doing just that. How you think when you do the right thing, something's happened? You think he over there or is he in here? At time of death, he speaks for you. That's your heart. That's where he's at. Little tidbit. Now let's move on to hidden way of the unmanifest supreme. Here you go. This is some good stuff here. The term she taught, unmanifest, relates to the fact that the ancient Egyptians realized, watch this, the illusionary nature of the physical reality. The phenomenal world as it is perceived by ordinary senses in a human being as not the absolute is not the absolute reality of existence. In modern times, quantum physics experiments have what uncovered the fact that physical matter is not physical matter at all. That is energy in its various states of manifestation, or what they call vibrational states. The energy is held together and sustained as well as given order by who? God, through what? Certain cosmic forces. We know about the elements. Those forces are what she taught Netta calls Neteru, God or goddesses. However, physical experiments can only lead to what? Indications about the Neteru. In order to have a deeper understanding, there must be also what? Subtle spiritual experiments and communion with them, meaning meditation. You live and do right and virtuous, you will see results. Watch this. Thus, the ancient Egyptians discovered that the phenomenal universe is only a manifest form which arises from a deeper, unmanifest source. Again, hidden. This notion was extensively explained, watch this, in the Menphite theology. Here we go. Theology, which relatively relating to time and space, was also expressed in ancient creation stories. Watch this. Long before Albert Einstein proposed his theory of relativity. The entire system, watch this, of mystical philosophy of the hidden supreme being, that's God, as well as the method through which that being manifests in the form of the phenomenal physical universe and individual human consciousness. He's in everything. He's got his hands on everything. It was explained, and watch this, in progressive stages. Nursery, preschool, elementary, you go into high school and college, higher education. This is the whole purpose. The progressive stage in the theology, again, it's a progressive stage of the Trinity known as Amen Ra Ptah, which was said to have arisen out of what? Supreme Being, aka Nebercha. As ancient Egyptian history moved on through thousands of years in peace and harmony, each segment of this trinity was what? Adopted by a particular priesthood and locality, which then set about to explain and expound the philosophy of that particular segment of the Trinity. They break it down. The priests and priests of the ancient Egyptian city of Anu adopted Ra. That's the Sarian concept. The priests and the priestess of ancient Egyptian city, Hecapotah, adopted Ptah. Again, and the priest of the priestess, the hymns, priest and priestess, meaning male and female. They didn't just males, and women can't preach. Nonsense, another lesson. But watch this. But the male priest and priestess of the ancient Egyptian city of Waset, of Nut, we call Thebes, adopted Amun. That's the boy. Now, in a similar manner, the theology of the cities of Abdu centered around the myth of Asar, while the theology of Philae and other localities centered around the teachings of Aset. One of the reasons why the Sarian Trinity of Asar, Aset, and Haru was so powerful is that it incorporated, here we go, the teachings giving an entire primordial Trinity system of Nebercha, Amen, Ra, Ptah. It gave you all three concepts in one and brought them to the level of what? Common folk. Everybody. At one time, they thought only the rich the famous, the aristocrats can get to God. Wrong. Brought it to the North common folk. They've been doing it ever since. Now it's personalized what the divinity in such a way that every man and woman could partake of the myth and practice it. Partake of the myth. Learn it. Study it. Live it. Everybody had the right to do that. Watch this. And they practice the rituals in what? Everyday life. That's the kicker. Muslim, you got to practice Islam every day. Jew, you practice Judaism every day. Christian, you should practice Christianity every day. Why? It becomes a way of life. That's what religion is meant to be. Thereby attaining, you will obtain a greater and greater closeness to what? To the divine God. The better you live, the more righteous and virtuous you are, the closer you get to God. Why? Because He start making His presence known to you. You will know Him personally. You ain't got to rely on some preacher or somebody telling you about the goodness of God. Our fellowship, I don't go there to get that nonsense. I already got that. Where we at? In this sense, every ancient Egyptian citizen, again, every ancient Egyptian citizen, not the aristocrats, not this one. No, every ancient Egyptian citizen, okay, understand, had the right and privilege to what? To follow of the Assyrian religion outside Egyptian, understood that the myth was in reality about us, every individual human being experience. Let's go. I'm just getting started. The mystical philosophy concerning the Trinity, the myth, is so powerful. Watch this, especially of the Trinity of Asar, Aset, and Haru. Why? Because it will change your life. You practice that, trust me, that's my yacht. That when currently understood, watch this, when correctly understood, it holds the key to understanding the nature of creation and of the nature of human consciousness. This is why I practice, this is why I learned it, and this is why the system of a Trinity was used in religious systems. Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. I'm saying that there. But this is why it was used in religious systems. And in India and later in what? Christianity, just like we trying to tell you. The former being modeled after the ancient Egyptian system indirectly, that's the India. And the latter being directly modeled after the ancient Egyptian system of the Assyrian resurrection. The virgin birth, the growing up to be a Messiah, all that, that's not original. Moving on, I ain't dealing with that nonsense, but just trust me, when you start getting information, that's what it is. You can start putting two to two together, connect the dots, so to speak. You might have a concept about this, an idea about that, but when it comes together, oh, yeah, it makes sense. If it don't make sense, it ain't worth studying. And watch this. Now, I tell you, Christians follow the Syrian resurrection concept, the portrayal, watch this, of God as a father who begets a son. Sound familiar? Who becomes his paraclete, which is a stand-in representation of him, and the revealer occurs first, and with most promising in ancient Egypt in the mythology of the Nebuchadnezzar as Asar, the father. Okay, Haru in Egypt was what? The reincarnation of Asar, his father, who was himself incarnated, not reincarnated, but incarnated, born, created out of that, of the high God Ra, the absolute abode of all things. At the same time, Haru is the symbol of what? Human soul, us, the essential nature, and the in, in, innate hero, the heroine within every human being. You are your savior. You are your hero. You are Haru. Why? You got to save yourself through practice, learning, understanding, and putting into use what your mother taught you, which is I said. She gave you everything you needed to know. All us brothers know. Father's cool. Yeah, he did it. But that stuff that mom gave you, you ain't got a clue. So understand that's why it takes two parents to raise. Okay, moving on. And every human being has to be their own hero. Watch this. Now, in much the same way, here we go. Listen, Jesus is the revealer and the paraclete of God from Christian concept. I understand that. I have a problem with that. The Father in Again, Pa, Father, same thing. We call him Pa, same thing with Father. So when I hear at church, I love hearing my man Mom's pray because she called him Father. And that lets you know they saw him as the Father. I get it, I understand. It's still God, so whatever you call him, but they do it with the care and love. I love that. That's what it's all about. Now, in the Eastern mystical philosophy, they have Buddha, Krishna, are considered to be the avatars or the current incarnation of God in the flesh. Again, avatarism, meaning the spirit had to go into the body. And they showed you, they went to the place in the movie Avatar, they got in the machine, they put their spirit inside the avatar. Same thing. That's the concept. I keep telling you, they show you what they understand. Okay, you are incarnation of God. That's in the flesh. The original idea of avatarism, watch this, was that from time to time, when unrighteous reaches a certain level and threatens to overwhelm righteousness, meaning when evil starts to run in the show, your ego. Right now, society, we ran by egoistic people. The system is run on egoistic, capitalistic people. We need God to send us a savior. Why? To stop this nonsense and get us back on track, so to speak. We trying. It's in the works. Okay, God knows what's going on. Now, watch this. And during that time, watch this. This ain't the first time. This been happening for a long time. God been upset with us being unrighteous, disrespectful to him, and he always sent somebody to deal with them. First, it was the daughter, okay, Sekhmet. She came and did work, okay? Then he flooded. He got a few things that he do to get your attention. Understand that? So moving on. God would manifest on earth. Here you go. God would manifest on earth in human form. Why? To restore what? Virtue and goodness and righteousness to the world. When Jesus came, did he change anything? I'm just saying, we still sinning. We still. So when God makes his presence known, things will change. That's all I'm saying. So moving on. The purpose of the avatarism from the divine point of view is what? Is to sustain creation by what? Maintaining the balance between the pairs of opposites in creation. Good, evil. There's got to be balance. You can't have one without the other. We done got so far with the unbalance, so society is out of balance. The purpose of avatarism from the disparity. Watch this. Here you go. The disparity in the pairs of opposite is most evident when in the rise of unrighteousness in society. And got my hands up. Why? Because it's right there. It's self-evident. We are our own worst enemy. I tell you that all the time. But we got a society full of it. So it ain't getting better until what? We put the right people in a position of power to change. In ancient Egyptian mythology, the concept of avatarism goes back again to when? Pre-dynastic era, to what? The incarnation of who? Hadhadu, there you go, Sekhmet, as what? The destructive eye of Ra and Asar and Asad. This is not the first go around. Understand that, people. In the ancient Egyptian mythology, the children of God were chosen, again, that nonsense. The company of God and goddesses are what? Not only avatars, but they are also symbols or aspects of human soul and of creation itself. We are part of God. God is part of us. What is the problem? Watch this. They, through what their symbolic forms, are to be treated as models for what? A kind of behavior which leads to what? Happiness and spiritual freedom. If you know yourself, if you put the work in on a daily level basis to get you to a certain level of knowledge and understanding of yourself, you will have blissfulness, you will have peacefulness, you will have contentment. You will be in control of your actions, your emotions, and everything that represents you. And watch this. In this respect, the incarnation of God as you avatar is really a metaphor which relates to the potential within every human being to what? Discover the manifest their divine nature, your inner self, aka know thyself. And in so, doing, watch this, become an avatar. Thus, the passions, the actions, the relationships, the teachings, and fates of the gods and goddesses reveal what? The story of the human soul and the path it must follow in order to obtain what? Knowledge of its true divine nature and to achieve liberation from what? Ignorance of that, pain and suffering from that due to bondage of the world, time and space, aka ignorance. We caught up in the world. Yeah. And forgetting who you are and what you should be doing while you're in the world, which is living righteous and virtuous. Why? So that when this life is over, you can go into eternity. That's the core of the ancient Egyptian concept. This is why everybody followed it. Everybody fell in love with it. Why? Because it was the way to go. If you questioning, well, am I going to heaven or hell? No, you following the wrong concept. Simple as that. So I don't get caught up in being confused. In ancient Egypt, the concept of God, here you go, the ultimate and the absolute reality behind all physical manifestation was called Amun. Amen, A-M-N, no vowels, or Amun, A-M-U-N, or Nabercha, or Panetta, the God, the supreme being. In Hindu mythology is Brahman, and the Taoist is the Tao. God is a metaphor for what? Mystery that transcends all human categories of thought, meaning you really can't comprehend it. So we try to break it down, simplify it like a fraction so you can work with it and use it and make it work for you. It depends on how much you want to think about it, whether or not it's doing you any good. If I wasn't being rewarded for what I'm doing, how I'm living, I don't think I'd be doing it. I sell drugs to make money. I worship God to be blessed. So if it wasn't working, I wouldn't be doing it. I do it every day and will continue. Why? That's what I know. Whether it's putting you in touch with your higher self, the mystery, which is the ground for what? Your own being. You need to know thyself. That's a little quick lesson from Joseph Campbell. Okay, I got some more for you. Now, let me tell you right quick. In this manner, the ancient sage who originally established the teachings of mystical philosophy used what? Metaphors and symbols, signs and symbols, I got my book right there, to describe the ultimate and transcendental reality which is beyond the grasp of ordinary human senses and mind. Meaning, it ain't the physical senses. It's the concept, the thought senses that makes it work. To describe this transcendental reality, the term God, Supreme Being, the Absolute Power, Nebuchadnezzar, etc., were created in an attempt to what? Provide a concept which the human mind could understand. I just dropped the mic. That's the whole purpose of what I do and why I do it. I get it. So I got to try to give it to y'all. That's why I do what I do. It's for you. Moving on. I'm going to wrap this up. Myth, religion, and psychomythology, and the gods and goddesses. What the world is psychomythology? Break that down for you. The language of myth. Myth is a fluid language. It is the language of what? Concept. I teach concept. I'm a master conceptor. Why? I study, I learn, and I can put together concepts that works. Why? From my study and understanding. I know what I'm doing, which is what represented through what? The symbols, themes, legends, traditions, heritage, and more importantly, philosophy contained in the myth. I give you a story with a message. I put the message in the story. That's how I teach. Myths are what? Representations of a higher transcendental spiritual experience. Heart mind coherence. A myth is the language of what? Transcendental consciousness and a means for the ordinary, the unenlightened mind to what? Relate to the transcendental spiritual concepts and learn. Myth, you can use celestial beings, spiritual gods and goddesses, and other special beings such as fantastic animals, journeys, struggles, etc. to what? Metaphysically relate to the wisdom and the pathway for those who wish to tread the path of life that leads to what? Self-discovery of the true meaning of life. The gods and goddesses of Netherrean religion, right then philosophy, may be thought of as what? Elements of myth and the mythology. The study of the Netherrean myths is specialized discipline engaged by what? In elevated philosophies, meaning higher education, higher knowledge, understanding. Now you got priests and priestesses, always they put them together, and mystics. In this capacity, the myth is what understood as psycho-spiritual language, a code for penetrating the mysteries of life, as related through the stories, the legends, and exploits of the gods and goddesses, and their interaction with human beings, especially as they relate to what? The deification of human existence, or rather the elevation and transformation of human existence into God and goddess existence. This I call psychomythology. I just broke it down. Headline right here. We're almost home. I'm going to take it in. Psychomythology. Mystical teachings holds that the essence of creation and therefore of each individual human being is transcendental. Everybody has the opportunity. Every caterpillar can become a butterfly. Hope to get the concept. That's the whole idea. It transcends what? The ordinary bounds of mental perception and understanding. However, all human experiences occurs where? In their mind. Though nothing happens outside you, like Sadi said, everything happens inside you. It's all mental. So therefore, the heart of all human experiences, be they painful or pleasurable, is rooted where? In the mind. But the conscious is in the heart. The purpose of the myth, watch this, is to what? Bridge the gap between the limited human mind and its conscious worldly level, and that which transcends all physicality as well as the mind and senses. Thus, religious myths, watch this, religious myths, religion have myths, allegorical stories, okay? Religious myth, which will be what? Our primary focus in this volume for right now, must be understood in the light of their psychological and mystical transcending body, mind, and sense implications. We will refer to this concept by a new term, psychomythology. Okay, let's go. So the term psycho is used as is used here, must be understood as far more than just simply that which refers to the mind in the worldly sense. The term psycho must be understood to mean everything that constitutes human consciousness in all of its stages and states, but most importantly, the subconscious and the unconscious levels of mind. Mythology here refers to the study of the codes, the messages, the ideas, directives, stories, the cultures, beliefs, etc., that affect the personality through what? The conscious, subconscious, and the unconscious aspect of the mind. We're dealing with intellect here now, and of every individual, specifically those effects which result in what? Psycho-spiritual transformation, aka spiritual enlightenment. When you become enlightened spiritual, why? For things that you learn and the way you live, now you know you have been enlightened. Watch this. That is a transpersonal or transcendental change in what? The personality of an individual, which leads to the discovery of the transcendental reality behind all existence. AKA, I keep telling you, know thyself. I'm going to go past my 60 minutes because I see the clock is running, but I'm going to wrap this up. A myth should never be understood and taken what? Literally. That book that you read should never be taken literally, sorry. Even though some of its origins may involve actual events or actions. I keep telling you, the Christians solidified their position with the Bible by coming out of Egypt. Ain't no writings of them in Egypt. Just saying. So otherwise, one will miss what? The transcendental message being related through what? The metaphor. This would be like going to a theater. Watch this. Seeing a fictional movie or reading a fantasy novel and believing that it is real. That's ludicrous. However, as a movie or a novel may be based on an unreal event and yet carry an important message which is imparted through the medium of what? The actors, a plot, and so on. Like I try to explain to you, mystical myths are not to be understood as being completely baseless, nor of having been put together purely for entertainment as primitive mumbo jumbo. Why? Myths constitute a symbolic language that speaks to people in a symbolic ways, satisfying what? Their conscience, their need to know for entertainment, but also affects the subconscious and the unconscious mind, and it needs for what? Spiritual evolution, knowledge, grasping something more, aspiring to get better, wanting more information. I need more knowledge. So this psychological language of myth can lead people, listen, right thinkers, to what? Understand and experience the transcendental truth of existence, which cannot be easily expressed in words. That's why you have to experience it for yourself. It ain't I can tell you, I just want to lead you in the right direction and then take care of yourself if you do what you do. Myth in the first stage of religion, watch this, and reenactment of the myth constitutes the second level religion, ritual. That's what you do. Now, myths constitute the heart and soul of rituals. Myth is the mystical language for what? Transmuting what? The teachings and the principles of life and creation. I keep giving you the story. The rituals are the medium through which the myths are practiced. You have to put it into practice, lived and realized. Again, daily. That's what Mayat practice means. You can't practice Mayat every now and then. You gotta live. Okay? Understand it. Right thing in philosophy have to be lived. The study of religious mythical stories is important to gain insight into what? The psychomythology or the psychological implications of the myth for what? Spiritual transformation of the individual, which leads to what? The attainment of enlightenment. Enlightenment implies the attainment of what? The expanded state of consciousness. You've been enlightened to something, termed as I will add. Dilation, expansion of the heart, and ancient Egyptian mystical philosophy in which there is a full and perfect awareness of one's existence beyond the mind and body. Thus, when you delve into a myth, you must expect more than just entertainment. Why? You should be equipped with the knowledge which will allow you to decipher the hidden meaning in the story so that you may also begin to experience and benefit from them on a personal level, meaning experiencing it for yourself. Live the myth, and on a spiritual level, in essence, attain spiritual enlightenment. Only then, right thinkers, will you be able to engender a real transformation in your life, which will lead you to what? True fulfillment, true happiness, as well as contentment. This is the third level of religious practice. The mystical or metaphysical level is also the mastery of right thinking philosophy. I'm going to wrap this up with the last part, the myth and Orthodox religion. Yeah, I'm rolling. As stated earlier, religion is composed of three aspects: mythological, ritual, and metaphysical, or the mystical experience, mysticism, mystical philosophy. Mystical philosophy is what? The basis of myth. It is expressed in ritual and experienced in the metaphysical. Spiritual discipline, yoga, lived it, understand it, is given by what? Religion. An important theme, watch this, which will be developed throughout this volume, is what? The understanding of complete religion. That is in their three aspects: mythological, ritual, and metaphysical, or the mystical experience. That's becoming enlightened. That's becoming a good Christian. That's becoming a devout Muslim. That's becoming a good Jew. So when you do it, that's when it happens. It's all about the experience. And at the first level, human beings learn the stories and traditions of religion. Yeah. At the second level, the rituals are learned and practiced. Now, when that's done, at the third level, the practitioner, now called a spiritual aspirant, aka right thinker, is led to actually go beyond myths and rituals and attain what? The ultimate goal of religion. To know thyself is the purpose of religion. Also, this is important principle. Why? Because many religions present different aspects of philosophy at different levels, and an uninformed onlooker may label it as primitive or adulterous, etc., without understanding what is going on. For example, Hinduism, the ancient Egyptian religion, presents polytheism and duality at the first two levels of religious practice. However, at the third level, the mysticism, the practitioner is made to what? Understand that all of the gods and goddesses being worshipped do not exist, in fact, but are in reality aspects of the single transcendental supreme self. This means that at the mystical level of religious practice, the concept of religion and its attendant symbols must also be what? Left behind. That is to say, transcended. The mystical disciplines constitute the technology or means by which what the myth and ritual of religion and the spiritual philosophy can be developed to what is highest level, aka reaching nihas, aka more important, know thyself. In contrast, the Orthodox religion present images as if they are in fact mundane realities as well as transcendental reality. But definition: idolatry is the presentation of an image of the divine as if it is in reality. Therefore, Orthodox traditions are the true idolaters, and mystical religions, since they do not ascribe absolute or binding qualities to their images, are not idolatrous. In order to fully understand the message of the myth, it is important to keep in mind some important keys. These are: number one, religious, mystical are relevant to our lives in present day. Number two, a myth is a journey of spiritual transformation, like enlightening yourself. Number three, the myths are to be lived in order to understand their true meaning. Four, myth points the way to what? Victory in life, aka know thyself. That's the lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. That's what I do for you.